The Democrats, according to Roll Call, they just sent out a tweet. Roll Call saying, because there's not enough news today. With Marco Rubio announcing re-election, Donald Trump. Donald Trump saying inner cities have been horribly abused by Hillary Clinton and Democrats. True. Roll Call on Twitter. Because there's not enough news today, House Democrats are staging a sit-in on the chamber floor and won't leave until the House votes on gun violence. What are these children? What are we doing? Is there a way? We don't have a sergeant of arms around, do we? Do we have a sergeant? Jody, do we have a sergeant of arms hanging around?
Corbin's over here.
He's not a sergeant of arms.
Okay, I'm
so
sorry.
No, he's not. Here's my thought. Can Paul Ryan, the House Speaker, does Paul Ryan want to really be loved by the conservatives? You know, there are some people, Jody, you seem to get a squeamish face whenever I bring up Paul Ryan. I kind of like Paul Ryan at times. Other times I'm kind of, but I'm going to give him a break. Here's how he can win the love of conservatives. Have the Democrats arrested. Can he do that? Can he just say, okay, you refuse to leave the chambers? All right, Sergeant of Arms, let's go. Let's round them up, throw them out.
He would gain a lot of respect that way.
You would be a huge fan of him again, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If he had the Democrats arrested for doing a sit-in?
Yeah, we'd give him his own theme music, man.
See? I'm telling you, he can win re-election today, even though he's already up 70 points in his poll. But if he really wanted to secure re-election again and bring along conservatives, all he has to do is arrest the Democrats who are doing the sit-in. I'm sure there's a rule against just sitting on the floor. But yeah, they're gonna do a sit-in until the House votes on gun. If I were Paul Ryan, I would do a vote. Are you for or against gun violence? And then have everybody vote on that issue. And then the Democrats, you can arrest them at that point. Susan Collins, Maine Republican, sort of, has come out with her own gun bill compromise. It is your poll of the day question. Should Republican senators compromise on gun control? Susan Collins has been building a Senate coalition for the no-fly, no-buy gun control bill that she has come up with. This is something that she has been working on, I guess, for a while. No, don't arrest him at gunpoint, Danny. Don't do that. That might scare the Democrats a little too much. Hell, go ahead and do it. But Susan Collins, she has come up with a new way to pass gun control. Her bill would basically say if you are on the no-fly list, then you are not allowed to buy a gun. Then you're not going to be able to do it. Senator Cornyn has spoken about this already. I think he spoke yesterday and said that he was not in favor of this because, again, it does not give the government and it does not give you the amount of due process that he says, and I would agree with this, I think just about everybody would, should be allowed, and that it would basically be violating your constitutional right. But Susan Collins, she is preparing this for tomorrow, I believe. And she wants to have the no-fly, no-buy list for gun control. The group of senators who have come together on this call the bill a viable alternative to the 4 gun control measures that failed to win the 60 votes needed for approval in the Senate Monday. Susan Collins saying, essentially, we believe that if you're too dangerous to fly on an airplane, you're too dangerous to buy a gun. 3 Republicans, 4 Democrats, and an independent support different versions of gun control legislation, but, quote, all of us are united in our desire of getting something significant done on this vital issue. Collins' proposal would prohibit those on the federal no-fly and selectee list from purchasing a firearm. Those on the selectee list are allowed to fly after intensive screening. The bill includes 5-year look-back provision to alert the FBI to gun purchases by someone who had been on the broader terrorism screening database and would allow anyone on the list who is prohibited from buying a gun to appeal. The proposal would affect about 2,700 Americans currently on the 2 list. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said he would allow a vote on the proposal, but he has not endorsed it. Collins said her proposal would likely come up for a vote this week or next week. Package seemed to face an uphill climb for the 60 votes it would need in the Senate and likely faces stronger opposition in the House. Opponents include the NRA and Gun Owners of America. It's because lists don't work. We have to remember this. The no-fly list, it's not perfect. The no-fly list has included, at the time, it included Ted Kennedy. And again, you can appeal if you go and buy a gun and your name happens to be on this list. You can, or they add your name, because don't believe for a second that just because there are 2,700 names on it right now that won't expand. You know, this list is not set in stone. They can add people to this list at any time. And by the way, they can add your name to the list and not tell you. And so if you go to a gun store and you try to buy a gun and all of a sudden, oh, okay, well, you're on the no-fly list, the no-buy list now for guns. Okay, you can appeal that, but this gives absolutely no time frame for the federal government to act. They can say, oh, okay, yeah, you appeal, you go ahead and you appeal. We'll take our time. And I still go back to what happened in Orlando. This terrorist was dropped from every watch list. Not only was he dropped from the watch list, you had a previous gun store where this terrorist tried to go and buy body armor. They refused to sell it to him, body armor and bulk ammo. They alerted the FBI. So even this idea of a 5-year, if you were on the list 5 years ago, then the FBI is alerted. The FBI was alerted about this terrorist in Orlando. And nothing happened. This wasn't a screw-up of a database or a background check or any of that. It was the screw-up, of the FBI. It was a screw-up of the Obama administration, I believe, messing around with the FBI and telling them to, hey, you guys need to be nice. Okay, we don't want to offend anybody. So if there's nothing, we don't want anyone to think that you're just targeting Muslims or anyone we've heard that from the Department of Homeland Security. Don't offend Muslims when investigating. It wasn't the fault of a gun. It wasn't the fault of a background check that didn't go through. The background check went through. If the FBI would have kept this guy on a list, he wouldn't have been able to buy a gun. The FBI has done a hell of a job in many cases, in most cases, in stopping terrorist plots. They screwed up this one. And it wouldn't surprise me for a second if there was pressure at some point, or has been pressure at some point from the administration, when you have the moronic comments from Loretta Lynch saying all you need is love to defeat terrorism. The only thing she was missing was a big peace sign hanging down from her neck, some rose-colored glasses, standing around going, hey, man, all you need is love, man. We don't need bombs or guns or ammunition. We just need birds and the sky and the sun. That's the administration we have right now. That's how we defeat terrorism. And unfortunately, they have a large part to play in the FBI. So no, this compromise bill, this compromise legislation that Susan Collins is coming up with, you have a whole bunch of lawmakers running around Washington, D.C. going, we have to do something, we have to do something. Yeah, you're right. We need a new president. We need a new administration. We need a new way of defeating ISIS instead of the way we are now. We need people who will actually call out Islamic terrorism because, again, words matter. And instead, we have a weak administration, we have a weak president, and they're turning the FBI weak. They're turning the Department of Homeland Security weak. And they've turned some Republicans weak as well. Chad Hasty Show, KFYO.